Okay, so hi everyone, Kimani Young here, and we're going to be looking today at some basics of the internet, which you'll need for general computer education and also to enable you to be able to come to a level where you can understand the terminologies that you'll need when you're interacting with web technologies or learning to design websites or web pages. So let's get right into it. Okay, now first of all, your internet sites all work with computers. So this means that when you go to a website, it's hosted on a computer machine, and that's called a server. And you, the person that are accessing that website, you are referred to as the client. So the server is a computer, usually much more powerful than yours would be, to serve all those millions of requests and to have a lot more internal memory, RAM memory, etc. So that's the basics of a network. You have a server and a client machine, and one makes requests and the other serves the request, and that's why those computers get the name servers. Now you'll see different terminologies used when interacting with the internet, such as the term URL, and let's just give you a quick example of what that means. So if I were downloading an image right here, and let's say I wanted this computer image, if I click on that, it takes me here to a complete address for where I find this website here. Now this here, the www.c2cis.com/repair-center.html, this complete address here is called a URL. Our URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator, but that terminology is not going to mean anything unless you understand what that does. This points you to the exact resource on a web server. So you see here, .html means that you're accessing an HTML document, a web document. But that's just one form. If I was downloading the image here, you'll see here that when I download the image here, this is the URL for the image, the complete address or path for that image. So it is at c2cis.com/uploads, all these folders that you see here, /1733734.png. Usually if you don't see it starting with a .com or .net domain names, we'll cover domain names in a second, and then ending with a dot and a file name, then it's not a complete URL. Okay, so you'll see the differences between websites, web pages, URLs, and domain names. Okay, so if we turn back to our previous section here and we go at the top here, and we'll see a very familiar and popular domain name. Now domain names are easy to remember names for computer servers. So google.com is a domain name. Alright, if we went to yahoo.com, that's a domain name. Of course, domain names are not simply .com names, but they're also .org, .net, .edu. So for example, a school is usually an edu site. So if we were looking at, for example, University of Florida, and we bring up that website, if you notice here, you see the URL is .edu, for educational institutions. So you have different endings for the domain names. And so a domain name is just the part that has the server name, website name, in this case UFL, just an abbreviation. If you have twitter.com, for example, you see here, twitter.com, that's a domain name. Okay, all right. And so you can see the difference between the URL and the domain name. The domain name is just the name for a server. You actually have a lot more complicated way of actually representing this that that is hidden from us. So an IP address, what is that? If you look at your computer names, they're actually translated into a set of numbers, right? And if you know what those numbers are, such as 139.130.4.5, you could actually get to the same website, but because humans aren't very good at remembering numbers, the domain names are converted for us to the IP addresses. Now every device on the internet has an IP address. So let's see, IP address of Yahoo. Okay, so here we go. So this is the IP address of Yahoo, and that's where that server will be located. It has to be a unique number. Every computer device, tablet, anything that can compute your TV, if your TV is a smart TV, it has an IP address. When you connect to your internet service provider or ISP, you also get an IP address that uniquely identifies you. Okay? Alright, so if I paste in that IP address that I had before, those numbers, those 4 sets of numbers, then it'll convert that right to the same website that we would normally see with a regular domain name given to us. Okay, so the IP address of Yahoo is actually, as seen here, .98.138.253.109. That's actually the address for Yahoo there, so just type that in there. So notice, I didn't type in yahoo.com, I typed in 98.138.253.109 and I got to Yahoo. So imagine if we had to deal with all these numbers all the time. It's not very human friendly. So we map the domain names to these IP addresses. Now if I wanted to set up my own website, well, I know what a domain name is now, but where do I get that? Well, you call them domain registrars, and you have popular domain registrars that you can purchase domain names from if they're not already taken. So that's popular domain registrar. Alright, I know a few right off the bat. You have GoDaddy, you have HostGator, right? Some of the most popular ones here that are on here. So let me just go back to a Google search, and you'll find that you have differences. Some offer different hosting plans, different prices. So website hosting, usually get both services from some of these companies, so I'll just do this two in one since I'm also going to be talking about website hosting. So if I go to HostGator, for example, HostGator.com, they will offer me different plans that I can use to get going. Alright, so I can find out how best they can serve me by browsing through on these plans that they have here. You also have GoDaddy.com that you can buy web hosting from. So for example, if you click started here, getting started here, just to check it out, you could see that they have a single domain plan, unlimited domains plan, and you can also buy your website name with them. Okay, but if you just wanted to get a website name only, then you could use a site such as namecheap.com. And of course there are many options out there, but you can choose the ones that might suit you best. So let's say I wanted to get a website, my cool site for stuff. So I do a search and I see what domains I can get, and I see here that it's my cool site. I can get mycoolsite.forstuff.com at $10.69 a year. And some of the domain names here, I can get .xyz, .club, .online, .site. Those are available, and a few others there. Okay, so if I wanted to get .org, usually for non-profit organizations, let's see what's available there. Okay, so I can get a .org at $12.48 a year. So basically you'd have to go through a registrar to get your domain name, and you don't have to get the domain name and the web hosting at the same company. So I could buy a domain name at Namecheap and I could host it at HostGator, or I could do everything at HostGator, get the domain name and hosting at HostGator. Another popular one is GoDaddy.com, and this one, and of course you can get your domain name and your hosting here. So if I want to find my domain name, for example, okay, let's see, dancinglessons.com. I'm pretty sure this will be taken, so I'm just going to show you what happens if you type in a domain name that's already owned by someone, what it would tell you. Okay, so as you can see here, you have quite a few options here. Alright, so it says it's already taken, And here's what you can do. And sometimes if it's not taken, but a name like that would be a premium name, because it's very easy for somebody to type a search term like that. So you can see dancinglessons.net is the next premium name. That can cost you $2,495. So people actually make money flipping domain names, but that's not the purpose of this video. And of course, they do offer hosting as well, so you can get your hosting from them as well. Usually when you buy either the domain or the hosting, you'll have an easy access to flow to pick up what you didn't buy. So if you bought the name, then they'll offer you a hosting package. If you bought hosting, they'll offer you to purchase a domain name with them. So for example, if I were to add this Deluxe to cart and continue, then it would ask me what options I want to pick. Usually you get a free domain when you buy some of their hosting packages. So I'd get a free domain. If you didn't catch that a while ago, let me just look back at that. So with their plans here, you get a free domain with the annual plan. So if you sign up for 12 months billing, you get a free domain. So there are different ways you can get value if you know how to shop well. Alright, so that's a bit of basics on this. So your website hosting, where your website space will be, where your website will live, the domain name, the actual name of your site, what a URL is, what an IP address is. These are basics of the internet that you need to know. So you can use this knowledge and you can move forward in your internet career.